Among all the numbers runners track, weekly mileage, pace, heart rate, there's one metric that may quietly hold the most predictive power when it comes to injury risk: the longest run. Not average runs, not total volume, but that single peak distance that your body has most recently adapted to. Emerging data from large-scale analyses and biomechanics labs suggests that when runners exceed their recent longest run by too much, too soon, the risk of injury doesn't just rise gradually, it spikes. This is not about the difference between 10 miles and 11. It's about the jump from a longest run of 9 to 13 or 11 to 16, especially when that jump happens in a single session without proper buildup. The body, particularly connective tissue and joints, adapts to stress over time. When training progresses gradually, tendons become more resilient, bones strengthen, muscles coordinate more efficiently, and nervous system responses refine. But when a runner suddenly demands more distance than the body has recently experienced, it creates a mismatch between preparedness and load. That gap can be dangerous. The risk is compounded by fatigue mechanics. The longer a run lasts, the more tired the muscles become, and the more the body compensates. This compensation typically shows up as sloppy form, reduced joint control, and delayed muscle activation. If a runner exceeds their recent longest distance by a wide margin, their body may reach that fatigue zone earlier and stay in it longer. That means more steps taken with compromised mechanics, more stress on tendons and ligaments, and a greater chance of one of those misaligned strides causing injury. What's often overlooked is that this risk can apply even when total weekly mileage is modest. A runner might increase weekly mileage by just 10%, but if one run stretches far beyond anything their body has recently encountered, it acts like a shock. It's a sudden overload disguised as a personal best. Unfortunately, the injury doesn't always show up during the run. It may surface days later: a stiff Achilles, a sore hip, or a stress reaction in the shin bone. By then, the damage is done, and recovery can take weeks. The problem is made worse by training culture. Runners are often encouraged to go long to build endurance or meet psychological benchmarks, like hitting a round number before race day. But research shows that the distance of the longest recent run, not the average, is the key reference point for safe progression. Bodies don't adapt to theory, they adapt to lived experience. And if your longest run in the past 3 weeks is 10 miles, jumping to 14 is a biological gamble, not a mental victory. The good news is that injury risk is much lower when increases are calibrated against your longest recent run, not your lifetime best or your peak training last year. This makes training safer, more sustainable, and surprisingly more effective. Instead of pushing the limits in a single session, runners can build resilience by stacking slightly longer runs over time, ensuring the body stays just slightly out of its comfort zone, never fully overwhelmed. In practice, this means keeping long runs within 10 to 15% of the most recent longest effort, especially for those not in peak condition. If your recent longest run was 8 miles, then 9 or 9.5 is a smart target, not 12. And even experienced runners benefit from respecting this rule, particularly after time off. Past fitness does not protect against current overload. Injuries from long-run jumps often feel sudden, but they're rarely random. They follow predictable patterns of stress and adaptation. And while it's tempting to chase distance for validation or race prep, it's worth asking, is this distance something my body is currently ready for? If the answer is no, the risks may outweigh the benefits. Training smart doesn't mean avoiding long runs. It means earning them. And once the body has adapted, those runs become powerful tools, not just for endurance, but for resilience, too. But until that point, every mile beyond your recent longest run is not just a challenge, it's a test your body may not yet be able to pass.